I caught the vibe he was throwing at me. He was
Right.
not happy with me. You know what I mean?
Right. Oh no.
He was not happy with me.
This is not an interview. There is no format. This is simply a conversation about life.
And actually, I think I had this same situation in kind of reverse. I was in Philadelphia in this place one time, and uh Jill Scott was in you know Jill Scott?
I love Jill Scott.
Okay. So she was walking, like she was talking to some people that we're in Philly, right? She was talking to some people that I knew. We were in this like lounge place. I forget, well, it's important, unimportant. But she walked past, no, I walked past, and my friend that was talking to her stopped me and was like, yo, this is Jill Scott. And I was like, oh yeah, nice to meet you and everything like that. But then I just kept walking because I was like, you know, like, why would she ain't trying to hear what I got, like, you know what I mean? and I don't know if this actually happened because I didn't see, you know, I didn't hear it from her mouth. And he was like, later on, he was like, yo, man, why you do that? You know, like that was so offensive that you didn't stand there and talk, or like, you know what I mean? Like,
wow.
So I know how easy it is to like offend someone and not mean
Yes.
it, and all that, and actually you just actually reminded me of something. Like there was a guy, now mind you, when I was in Philadelphia, it was at a time when it was a lot coming out of Philly. We basically became like a little epicenter for like a split second because we had like a lot of popular music coming out of there with like Josh Wink and King Brid and Robbie Tronco and all these house guys and techno guys, and people started even moving to Philadelphia, like to kind of be a part of it. And the thing is I wasn't a DJ at the time, so I didn't have any perspective on what it was like to like what the rest of the world knew, because I'm saying this all in retrospect. I didn't get it. I didn't know what was going on at the time. I just thought everything was cool, and this is, you know, I'm young, this is what it is, this is, you know, of course, you know. And I remember I was talking to this guy one time. Oh, I say this to say, like, I was a little bit more popular than I realized. You know what I mean? Like, at least my music was.
Right.
I remember like this guy came up to me that I knew. He was a DJ. He was making music as well or whatever. And he had his DJ crew and they were all doing their thing. And so they started, I guess they started a record label too, and they were gonna like start doing their things. And he was telling me about this box that he bought. It was like this mastering, you know, I don't know if you know what mastering is, but like mastering is like after you go to the studio and you mix the record, then you send the record to one other guy who does a final mix of it, and they master it so it can be pressed vinyl or master it for Spotify.
Right.
Or, of course, Spotify didn't exist at this time. There was barely internet at this time, right? And so he said he got this box and he was like, yo, and I'm gonna, you know, it does the mastering automatically or whatever. And I was just like, well, you know that like mastering engineering is like a skill, it's a craft, you know, like a box can't really do that or whatever, you know. And so I just said that or whatever. He kind of walked off or whatever. And then maybe like 2 years later, the guy comes up to me in a bar and he's like, yo, and he totally remembered this conversation. He was like, yo, I just want you to know, like, I'm all doing real estate now or whatever. And he was like, I want to thank you for what you said, because now I'm doing real estate now, I own all of this and blah blah blah. But the way he was doing it was, he was kind of like throwing it in my face somehow, like I clearly hurt his feelings.
Wow, like you were the reason that he gave up music, was what he was trying to make you feel like.
This is what their impression was, but he was successful at what he was doing, and I think he was telling me real estate, but he was saying it in a really, like,
weird.
I caught the vibe he was throwing that way. He was not happy with me. You know what I mean?
Right. Oh no.
He was not happy with me. You know what I mean? And this was totally not my intention wasn't to, I would never discourage anybody.
Right, of course.
You know what I mean? And I think about times when, and it makes me think about all of the times I've had conversations with people and wondered, did I say the right thing? You know what I mean?
Yes. Yes, I've had similar moments, and I've also been on the receiving end where I remember I was in this really popular choreographer's class, and they were doing like little select groups who would go on film, and they were like, okay, whoever wants to go in this group, come on and step out. And so I stepped out, and they were like, oh, you want to go? Like, oh, you want to go, babe? I remember being like, yeah, that's why I stepped out. And the energy was like, are you sure you can do it kind of vibe? And that always stuck with me. And I never really wanted to go back to that class because I felt like they just felt like I wasn't a good enough dancer. It really bothered me.
Yeah.
They probably didn't even realize how their comments sounded. Yeah. So it is what it is, but
it's something to be mindful of, because you know, when people have a thought of you, it really can affect you. You can so easily offend someone just by not speaking to them, or not, you know what I mean? Or you don't speak to them long enough, or you know what I mean? Like, especially if they think you have something, or because the automatic feeling is that, oh, you think it turns, they'll love you, and then it can turn so easily.
So fast. Yeah. No, I feel that. I feel like it just goes back to us all being really protective over our work, and thinking that, you know, if someone acts a certain way, it means they don't like our work, or we take it very personally, which I try not to do, but it's hard when you're meeting other people that work in your same field, and you want to see how they're going to react to you, and they're probably judging the same thing off of you, and then sometimes things can get lost in translation. So it's just it can kind of be a mess.
Yeah,
a little bit.
And this is why I don't listen to other people's music when they ask me. Don't put me in this position, because I don't want to, like, I just say I can't do it. Like, no, I don't. I'm sorry. I don't want to. Just keep going, and you'll make it. Because this is what I actually believe. Whatever I have to say shouldn't mean anything. You know what I mean? Like,
right.